Hello, viewers. Just like day follows night and night follows day, so do the years come by. 2024 is here and it's upon us. And as young people, those to whom today and the future belongs to, the mantle is surely on our shoulders to try and, anticipate and predict what events that are going to, shape this particular year. This could be social, economic, but also political in nature. Viewers, welcome to this episode. A happy new year, and I am joined by a panel of distinguished young people to, try and tell us what, in their view, are the events that will, be defining in this particular year and beyond. And I'll just introduce them to you, and in no particular order. A face you've seen on the Youth Roundtable not once, not twice, but a couple of times, is the Vice President of the Uganda Young Democrats, Hellen, Sayuni. We're very happy to have you, always dabbed in green.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Comrade, for hosting us, and a happy new year to all our viewers.
Yeah. We are very happy to have you always.
Thank you so much.
Next to Hellen is a gentleman all the way from Karamoja. I mean, for those of you who know Karamoja, you know how, a distance it is from Kampala. The name is Gady Epitu. Gady is the chairperson of the youth of Moroto district, but also is the secretary for publicity of the National Youth Council. Gady, happy new year, karibu.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to first wish all the viewers happy new year, and to us who are here, happy new year. Yeah, I really thank you for calling me here, and I wish to really share my views as we shape the nation.
Yeah.
How
is Karamoja? Are the raids still?
Karamoja is there, though now there are petty raids. Yeah, we are working on it, and we shall reach there.
Sure. We shall be happy to know that Karamoja is pacified. Well, next to Gady is our Mugole, the newly elected Secretary for Women Affairs, right, of the Uganda National Students Association. And the name is Mable Bainomugisha. Mable, we are happy to have you.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you all. I look forward to a very successful year in regards to UNSA, and I know my engagements will be in regards to that and a lot more.
How is UNSA so far? Have you begun to plan for the students?
UNSA is good, but just like I said earlier on, we are still trying to mend and put things right for the things we did not put wrong.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, last but not least is a gentleman of strong repute. I mean, for any of you who have been here long enough to follow, student and youth politics, then the name Roy Rugumayo, sounds a bell in your ears. Of recent, he's the principal of the New Bold Vision, but I know he's a man of very many current and former titles. Ndugu Roy, happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Comrade Kidega, for having me yet again on this platform. Happy New Year to viewers and to fellow young people here. I also look forward to a very fruitful discussion with all of us here.
Yeah. Just, I don't know, the New Bold Vision, quite captivating phrase. What inspired that notion?
It's more of a movement than a phrase.
Okay.
It's a clarion call for young people to refuse to be ordinary, to think widely about the future that they deserve and that this country deserves in all aspects of life, socio-economic, political, and work hard in their current means to make their contributions towards that future.
Yeah, interesting. That was just an icebreaker. But let me begin with you, Hellen. Looking at this year, well, we are already a few days in, but what in your view do you think are going to be some of the defining, let's begin with the political. What do you think are going to be some of the defining political events this year?
Well, we can't wait for cabinet reshuffle.
Oh, that is this year. But DP, you have
we as
you have a
young
share
people,
in the government.
yeah, sure, we have, but we know ours is instigated by the cooperation agreement, and our agreement is up to 2026.
Yeah.
So do not expect a reshuffle on our side unless we say things are not working and we're not working with you again.
Yeah.
But honestly, we think a cabinet reshuffle is too long. It has taken really too long, and we cannot wait at least to have some breath, like have some of the people pushed out, some serious people gotten in, the corruption scandals that have taken place with cabinet ministers, some not working at all. So that is what we actually expect in the earliest months of this year. So far politically, we saw NUP did a reshuffle of the leader of opposition and the other shadow cabinet ministers. So we also hope to see how best they are going to work than they have been working. We expect some suggestions of new policies.
What do you make of the choice of the Honorable Joel Sayuni departing from the Honorable Matthias Mpuga?
Well, let's see. Let us see how it let us see how it goes. But I feel it is quite interesting having a first timer, but also young as Joel take over mantle. Me as a young person, I am happy about it, because that could be the beginning of it all, that we shall see many young people take up serious positions. And of course, we owe him so much that he has to work so hard. Matthias is too big a shoe to occupy. Yes, he's that brilliant man. The only difference I see between Matthias and Sayuni is that Matthias is very very diplomatic and very intelligent. Hellen could just be shrewd and aggressive.
Yeah. So what does NUP need moving towards the general election? Is it a diplomatic character or the radical and
definitely, sometimes radicalism works, other times it does not. And with our government here, I have not seen radicalism working too much. People have been radical and nothing happens. And people have been diplomatic and negotiating, and things take course. That is why we have the cooperation agreement as DP. We believe that we have been too radical, and let's try the negotiation side. So we are waiting to see what happens with the new leader of opposition and the other shadow ministers. We have a lot of hopes in them, be it that we know them for being radical as a political party, and most of them were throwing the tantrums that were thrown at Mpuga, that he's become they normally, there's a way they normally shape the narrative to fit the fact that maybe he's working with the government. And most of us forget that whoever is in parliament is actually working with the government. Because when you're in parliament, you must cooperate. NRM still remains with the biggest numbers. Until you have them, some of the things may not work out. You need the numbers. So we are waiting to see how they are also going to cooperate, because the cooperation must take course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Gady, I know you're part of the NRM Youth League. Speaking of events that we think are going to take shape this year, the NRM seems to be, having so many factions, doing different things. There's one saying, Jaja Tofakume, and then there's another group saying, we have our generator here. So I don't know, speaking of events that are going to shape this year, how is the NRM looking at this year? I saw there is a roadmap for...
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Kidega. It is way too long that we have waited for most of the changes in the NRM system. And of course, we have been waiting for the NRM Youth League to take course, because we saw the previous regime has served almost 8 years from last year up to now. And they kept pushing it. So we expect that first to change so that we can get some vibrant youth who can take course in this. We are looking at, of course, the election starting in March. That is our roadmap is talking. We're looking at March. That's why the village level is going to start up with the youth league, so that we can get more vibrant youth instead of, looking at the old chaps that have already outlived their youthfulness. So that is first one thing that NRM is going to do. Talking about the different movements that are ongoing, the Jatobak main, a lot of movements that are going. Yeah, so those are all. Those are all. Those are all strategies.
It's a new movement.
It's a new movement. Those are all strategies, of course, to mobilize for the president.
Yeah.
And all of them suit a particular area. It's not like it is the whole country that is running on one movement. No, it's a group that is suiting a particular area. I can come up from Karamoja and bring up my movement, but that is all a strategy. How does the community understand it? That is just a movement on it. Yeah, because what more can someone do? What more can someone do? We have to look for strategies of winning the hearts of people back into, I know people have lost hope, really. I can't lie that. People have lost hope because some people say they're just tired. Some people, are complaining about the economy is hard. If you go to Karamoja, the insecurity has been intense and still killings are still happening up to now.
Yeah.
And you see when killings are happening, you find that the recent killing that happened, people came in military uniform, military regalia. So people were confused whether these are wrong people or these are good people. And there was a boy who was killed, was shot. So you see, people are having all that back and forth. So they need something to believe in.
Yeah.
So people come up with different movements, different ways of, bringing up something to the president, something about the president. You understand? So to bring back the faith of people back. So all these that are coming up is just a mobilization strategy to help, push the agenda of the NRM government in power.
Yeah, true. And interesting, because speaking of the things that will aid the NRM's stay in power is that the opposition appears to be divided. Look at the FDC currently. You look at UPC. There are factions within those political parties. I don't know. Does the NRM see this division within these political parties as something that will make their next bid, sort of a walk in the park?
Yeah. These divisions is to win something.
Even DP, there's Mao group.
Yeah, there's a lot of, the political parties now in Uganda, it's only NRM that's a little bit organized in terms of their structures.
Yeah.
That is clear, clearly seen. Yeah, because everyone is tagging themselves into the NRM party.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cannot say that other political parties are organized. No, NUP is having an issue. There was a time they had an issue before. FDC is having an issue. You look at DP. Of course, DP came into NRM. So it is only NRM that is organized. It's only NRM that is organized. If there are small loopholes, but these organizations of different political parties is a step forward for the NRM to be in power. It really helps the NRM to be in power, because what will people believe in the other political parties where at the head it is already disorganized? But NRM is, bringing up people. Now, after the NRM Youth League is being elected, you'll see a more vibrant youth coming up, and those structures are going to be well organized. You understand? Unlike other political parties, it doesn't cut across the country, where you have, the leagues so much organized from the village up to the national. But for NRM, starts from the village up to the national. So it is really so good for the NRM to be in power.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Baino,
Yes, please.
you're the youngest stack here, and just from a political process. We are discussing the politics of this year. And I don't know, in your own words, do we see the student movement becoming more vibrant? And because, if you go back into history, the students of South Africa caused meaningful change.
Yeah.
The NRM that Gady is speaking about began as a FRONASA, a student movement.
Yeah.
So I don't know the role of students in shaping this year's politics. Should we expect anything from the students' movement?
Yeah, definitely. With people like me on board,
Interesting.
you expect it to be vibrant.
Mm.
And just like I said at the beginning, that we are trying to mend wrongs that we did not commit. But even in that, we are going to see to it that the student movement is vibrant. The student movement will reach places, and it's not going to become more vibrant, but we are going to resuscitate it. It's going to breathe again, because I want to believe that for the past year it was suffocated. By who, I do not want to be specific, but it's going to breathe again. We are going to see UNSA again in places. Personally, if the rest of the NEC members cannot do it, I'll make sure that UNSA reaches places. We are going to have activities on board. We are going to have to collaborate and partner with a lot of people. And yeah, we are going to be somewhere by the end of this year, especially because I'm sure that people in the student movement are also shooting for the 2026 elections. So there is a reason to be alive as a student movement. There's a reason to be participative. There's a reason to leave something on board, because we are looking at, after here, where am I heading to? Next year, people will already be in campaigns. So as someone who is working at the neck of UNSA, or who is around the student movement, you're bound to take shape this year and prove your worth to the people that are going to entrust you again. Yeah.
So just to emphasize two things for me is that the student movement today, if you look at, for example, Makerere University, Makerere University was at the center of innovation. And because, you know, education freedom is the backbone of innovation. That if you allow students to be free, they're able to think and actually create tangible solutions.
Yeah.
The Makerere of today is not the one that we used to know. You know, students are, their liberty to speak about issues has been curtailed.
Yeah.
So are we seeing a student movement that is beginning to become complacent, that is beginning to fizzle out, you know, taking Makerere as a use case?
Well, according to me, it's not that they are being frustrated. It's not that students no longer have the liberty to speak. They do have the liberty, but I personally believe that when change is bound to happen, then the people in the change are bound to be flexible too. So as the guild at Makerere, if you want to say something, how are we going to say it? Because we have to believe that, like it or not, we are not going to keep on with radicalism and everything. We've been radical. People have lost lives, others have been disabled, and things did not happen. I'll take an example of MOBS. That's where I come from. I'm the Guild Minister of Information and Publicity. At MOBS, we rarely use radical moves to attain whatever we want to attain. We always sit at a round table and discuss with administration. This is what we want. How are we going to get it? And several times we get what we want. So I personally believe that the student movement is here to aid the students in whatever they'll front. But I personally believe that also the students should be ready to move with us. If we say that, okay, we've striked, it has not worked, let's go and talk. Then follow us. Let's go and talk. Personally, I'm a radical person. It's not that when I go at the round table and then I front something and you like, I'm not giving you that, I'll just give up. I'll definitely turn the tables. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Roy Rugumayo, the politics of this year. Let me just leave it open for you. Just paint a picture about what you think is going to influence the politics of this year and moving forward.
Well, this year has not just fallen from Mars. It came because last year was there. And last year was there because the other year was also here.
True.
So it would be very overambitious of us to think that there is going to be a very huge difference between then and now. What has changed is the 4 at the end of the date. Last year we had a 3. What I see this year is a continuation of the shrinking of the civic space because we are headed closer to an election. So the predictable thing is that there's going to be more curtailing of the civic space. The ability to organize, to mobilize, to meet freely is going to be more curtailed on because in governments akin to ours, that's what happens. That is the expected. We're going to see court make a decision on the anti-homosexuality bill. The predictable thing is that the bill may be struck down for political reasons and for funding and all geopolitical reasons. But the same issue will continue to be rallied around through the year. And the government and opposition are going to put themselves at task on where do you fall on the issue, okay? Because the issue has both local and international consequences for whoever falls where. Well, government can say can speak internationally and say our court system struck down the issue, okay? But locally, they will continue to mobilize people and say the courts are wrong. This is our position. The opposition this year will continue to take a double standard on the issue because they want both the local support politically and international support for financial
DP,
reasons.
which is very clear.
Perhaps. But DP, we cannot say opposition and DP in the same statement.
That's not right, my friend. I thought you were in Uganda.
Cooperating. So for political reasons locally, opposition figures will, more especially Bobby Wine, and they'll say we are married men, we value the family and all that. But internationally, they want to portray a stance that is lenient. Yeah. So that issue will very much.
But hasn't the president, been clear on that, even with the international community? Because I think, was it last week when the
summit?
Yes, he was like, I feel like he has been clear on that. He has told them to
he plays two audiences, and that is presidential. I wouldn't blame him too. He plays two audiences: the local audience that is communicating to in those summits, because that's content for NTV and NBS and Bukete. Okay, then the international audience that listens to structure will listen to him through the ruling of court. That will be his communication to the international audience.
Not through the statements.
No. I mean, verbally, they also know that he has politics to play. Okay? And in stakeholder matrix, they would totally understand him. And that is where our opposition perhaps hasn't gone to those extents. Also politically, we shall see more a reduction in radicalism. Yes. I don't see any, I could be wrong, but I don't see any street engagements with the police and all that this year. I don't.
Sure.
Yes.
Because I think the NUP made a pronouncement that they're going to continue with a countrywide tour.
No.
More so coming to the central region.
I don't see it. Maybe I could be wrong, but I don't see them.
I think we are done with Uganda of radicalism. Personally, that's my view. Yeah, there would be more radical people to come, but not in this political arena. When Mr. Roy talks about the president playing to audiences, I remembered last week the president of Burundi ordered for the stoning of homosexuals. So if maybe we were serious about it that way, however much he's trying to joke, maybe would also bring
locally that
things,
would win him an election.
Yeah.
You know? But the position of Burundi on homosexuality perhaps is more lenient than the one of Saudi Arabia.
Okay, guys, I have to ask why you guys think that this year we expect less radical political approaches.
Why? Because personally, I think I follow closely, being that I have some background in psychology. I follow closely what people think and what they say, and more especially on media. And you find people are having a huge buy-in on the Jimmy Spire approach to change. That they will mostly use non-violent means, like social media posts, exhibitions of potholes, and all that, to cause change on how KCCA, on government funding.
Wasn't that the same campaign of Tubalavise for Dr. Kizza Besigye? You know, it's about exposing it.
No, he's had an aspect of walking to work on the issue of fuel prices. But now on the issue of fuel prices, the current lot of people who would be on the streets are making memes to show that for petrol you'll need a leg, for diesel you'll need an arm, for kerosene you get. So I see people are mostly now embracing media-based calls for accountability.
Let me just stick on that. Just Hellen. Roy thinks that this year we expect to downsize on the radical approach of the opposition. NUP, even the defiant faction of Katonga, that we expect them to this year and beyond begin to. I don't know. I don't see that happening.
I don't think it's a toning down.
Your opinion on that.
The difference will just be interest. You know, politically, where your interest plays is where you go. Now, NUP has done radicalism for the past 2 years. You know how many lives we've lost? You know how many young people are still in cells, and nothing is being talked about it. Now, it's about the goodwill of the masses. When you look around and if you visit me, I do too much of listening to the people in the informal sector, salons, those border people. People are very bruised. You see people on the streets walking, but people have wounds on their heart.
Isn't that actually a trigger for?
So yes, of course. That's why I want to agree with him that radicalism is slowly getting down. That people are coming to self-realization that, you know, actually I can be on streets tomorrow, I lose my life, and things will continue to happen.
So you guys are defying the old adage of violence begets violence.
Yes, and you see, like, we can use an example of the last nationwide tour of the NUP. First of all, they do not have a clear message. They do not have even clear strategies to secure people. You're moving with people, but you do not have a message. You do not have a clear strategy on how you're going to secure people and make sure that people are safe.
Isn't that
1 million march?
That is the
1 million march. You know how many campaigns they started last year and all of them fell out? Flopped. All of them flopped. Do you take that for a joke that They had Tubalabise. They even released the song How Far.
From the airport.
Yeah, the 1 million
Welcome
march.
from the airport. Did you see it? Did you hear about the Twelabise? Do you know that Bobby has a Twelabise song that was meant to mobilize masses to join a certain campaign? Do you know about that song? Do you know how much Bobby's songs of Tuongere Muka Sukali the other days trended? You can just use that to understand that Ugandans are getting to a level where they believe that things can actually be done in a different way.
Or is it because it is just not the time where the stakes are high? Because right now there is no election, there is nothing. So maybe the stakes are still not so high. That is why they're still saying, okay, for now, we can lay down our
The only
troops.
thing that can raise stakes right now for NUP, and it should be very strategic, of which I don't think it will happen because the two are egocentric, is if Besige's clique joins Bobby Wine. There we shall see some hope and radicalism can rise again because the two, all of them, are a bit radical. But I either way do not think that Besige is going to join Bobby Wine. The opposition politics of this country is very fragile. People's egos are up there. Everyone has their personal interests and they are fronting them, as you can understand. So the only thing that can bring back radicalism is if those two cliques join each other.
Okay. Gady, the opposition, do we see the Kizza Besigye Katonga faction rallying with the Honorable Bobby Wine and yes, because I think they had an end of year prayer and those individuals actually all assembled at the NUP. So do we see the opposition trying to unite as this year?
Now, Kidega, we have seen this several times. We have seen these people coming together, even in the past elections. We expected the opposition to come together, but it did not happen. So there is nothing new that is going to happen. It is not going to happen that they are going to come together. They will always be separate on their own. Because why? A leader of opposition or a political party wants to impress his masses, his group. Besigye wants to impress his people. Bobby Wine wants to impress his people. Mugisha Muntu also is with his people. So it is about your people that you're looking at, not about the joining together to defeat so and so. So if someone wants to win on his own, like you want to take over power on your own, they have all their selfish gains. You understand? So there is no way they are going to come together to support one person to go through. Because if Besigye comes in, Bobby Wine comes in, Mugisha Muntu comes in, they all come in, that they want to support, who will they start fronting to say who is more powerful in this? Who should take over? So that selfish interest can never allow them to come together. They will always have prayers together as opposition. They will always eat together. That one is normal. That is a social gathering of everyone. You're just coming together as opposition to discuss ideas that, will help.
Even the president can join them.
Even the president can join them. But when it reaches the time it's just like us having the shadow coming, maybe the shadow of NYC coming and having a meeting with us. They will not come together with us to, walk the path. No, they will always have something, to have a back, and that is their existence. You understand? So that is how opposition is going to work. That's how they are working. They have something of their existence to define their existence. They cannot put all their eggs on one head. They need to protect their political parties. That is basically. So they will never come together to have
one sole candidate. Interesting. Baino. Now this has led us into discussing broadly the aspect of coalition politics. Kenya, very successful. They've had Kenya Kwanza. That was a combination of so many political parties that they had as Miola Umoja. They've had several coalition, parties.
You want us to
Jubilee
compare Kenyan politics to Uganda?
Uganda, TDA collapsed halfway. We had, I think, IPC sometime back. It didn't yield much. So what do you think affects coalition politics? What makes it hard for these opposition parties, DP, UPC, NUP to say, okay, guys, we have one common person who we want to get out of this. Why can't we work together? Like, what stops them?
Personally, I think I've not met any opposition party that follows the Ugandan motto itself, for God and my country. When it comes to opposition parties in Uganda,
Opposition. No, you're not opposition. DP is not opposition.
You're tying on opposition.
regardless, you see, when
DP
it
is tying
comes
on
to
opposition.
our opposition parties in Uganda, it is for God and my people. This is why you see that to date there are some NUP members that have not yet accepted that Joel Senyonyi is the new leader of opposition, because now even Matthias Mpuga has his people.
The Subi group.
Yes, and they are his people. Regardless of what happens for us, we are Matthias Mpuga. They are Bobby Wine's people. Before you know it, even Joel Senyonyi has his people who will say, okay, I'm not NUP, but I believe in Joel Senyonyi. And the same happens for these other parties. So when it comes to coalition politics in Uganda, I don't see it working any sooner. Because when we had a cooperation as DP stroke UID with the government, you see there are people in DP who asked you, you're having it as who?
As who?
That means that we are always having a party within a party, and we have presidents, more than one president in a political party. You'll be surprised if I tell you today that we have NUP of Bobby Wine, then we shall have NUP of Matthias, we shall have NUP of Joel Senyonyi. And if you're keen enough, all the three factions behave differently.
Their
approach to things will be totally different. Go to the FDC of Chiza Besigye, then Mujesha Muntu, there are those of Amliat Nandala Mafabi. All those people will behave differently, be it in parliament,
How about the
be
NRM?
it out. Now with NRM,
there is only one NRM.
this is where NRM actually, I sometimes agree with them. Now NRM, they will have Tobacco Maini, then they have MK Movement, MK Amia, all their factions. But the difference with them is one, they always know what they want. If NUP is having differences and they reach the ballot and there's an NUP candidate, you find an NUP candidate saying, since it's not Joe Senyonyi who sent this one, let me go and vote a UID person. Now with NRM, when they reach the ballot and be like, okay, we hoped to find Mohoz here, but who has NRM sent? It's Museveni. Let's just go with that. So with NRM, they always have a common interest. If they are looking for power, it is power. With opposition parties, their interests differ according to who is in power. If Norbert Mao is the President General of the party, but I do not believe in him, I will look for some other stronghold in a party and make that my president. And this is what makes it hard for coalitions happen. Now, like I'm looking at Joel Senyonyi as the new leader of opposition, going to a parliament where I personally expect a constitutional amendment this year. And there are people who have not taken him in from NUP as their new leader of opposition. And he has to fight this war for opposition, that members, they might possibly amend Article 102A, but let's not amend it. Or we've seen the president suggesting that parliament to elect president. So in case there is any business to be moved in parliament, and it is to be fronted by Joel Senyonyi, a big task befalls him, especially because he's dealing with dynamic people in opposition. We have diplomats, we have radicals, we have the liberals. So he has a big task ahead of him, though I trust him to always execute and not reach the finishing line. We've seen what he does in Kosase. He will deliver, then amidst the way we don't know what happens, he leaves that there and picks some other thing. We do not know if that's what he's going to do, but coalition politics in Uganda, not any sooner.
Roy, I'm interested on the issue of coalition politics, because I don't know, if you look at the individuals that are heading political parties in the opposition, I would say they've come of age. Kizza Besigye has come of age. He should know better at this point in time. Mugisha Muntu has come of age. So, are the factors that have been hindering that coalition in the past, do they still exist now? Is it an issue of ideology? Is it an issue of ego? I don't know. Why can't the opposition work together?
I think the difference between Kenyan politics and ours is that for them, they have had the opportunity since independence to participate in elective democracies. And ours, we've had military coups, this one taking over from this one, then 63 days, this one chases away this one and all that. But also their politics, they have been
So you don't
brave enough.
You don't categorize the 1980 election?
we know what happened.
No, obviously it was marred by so much irregularity, but it was an election.
It was an election
Shamba election.
that led into a 5-year war and 500,000 deaths.
Yeah.
Theirs, they've had these politics with some things going wrong, but still the integrity of their elections have been upheld, sometimes by court, sometimes court quashes the election, they go into another election. But theirs have been elections. But also my other point is that they have been brave enough to play openly their politics of identity and say this is a party of the Kalenjins. This is a party of the Chikuyu. This is a party of the Jaluo. And therefore, the Jaluo talk to the Kalenjins and say, give us the presidency, be the vice president. As openly as that. Here we would call it sectarian and tribalism and all that.
Nepotism.
But there it has worked for them. And their coalitions in most cases have been tribal coalitions, that this tribe and the other tribe and the other tribe join, share government positions even before they go into an election, go into the election and win and stick to what they agreed on in the election. Now, it has worked for us before. Kabaka yeka UPC. People then were openly playing tribal religious politics. Okay? We don't have the numbers, but if we join, the Kabaka's group joins the UPC group that was Protestant actually, and they win. And, and the politics play out, and one wins government, and they share positions in government.
They share power.
And now, our national groupings, the Acholi Nation and the Toro Nation and the Uganda Nation, have been deliberately made to be tribal groupings. And if you dare play the politics of Toro and do a political party of Toro, so that you win all the positions there and you're the kingpin there, and you know, it can be very dangerous here. You'll be dubbed a sectarian politician. But it has worked for them. But also, our politics hasn't metamorphosed into the politics of interest groupings. That this is a labor party. This is a party of workers, factory workers, teachers, doctors, and we are together, and our interest is better pay, better working conditions, and together we have a political party that is deliberately seeking power so that for workers we deliver this. And therefore we can join with a party of environmentalists who are saying our interest in power is the protection of the environment. And it's a very huge movement that forms a political party on that line. And when we go into an election, we can say, what are your interests? Environment. What are your interests?
Workers.
And we form a coalition. Now here, our politics hasn't reached that far. Maybe in future, we shall be there. But now, what are the issues of DP? Take for instance, what political demographic, what group is the membership of DP? Is it traders? Is it workers? Is it cattle keepers? Is it environmentalists? What group?
Protectionists.
Everyone is there.
Exactly. What group is UPC? What demographic of voters are they seeking power for? If our politics had grown that far, it is easier to do what? To form alliances based on interest. Now, our politics is based on cultism, Bobby Wineists, Besigists. And their interest is to have Besige as the president. And even if you are seated in a room and the discussion is heading towards Besige might not be the candidate, they will come and carry him away from the meeting.
Just like they did.
Exactly. If they're in a meeting and it's not heading towards Bobby Wine will be the candidate, they cannot allow such kind of.
Sure.
And they will say, Panovalia, we shall not work with him. They are the same. They are the same. He has worked with this government. He has been lying to us. What? But when he's coming for the prayers, they are not the same. Yeah. We are the opposition. But the moment they say we are seated in a hotel and the meeting is headed towards
choosing a
leader, and their cult leader is not going to be the candidate, that hotel will be on fire. Because there are no interests. We are not allying on any major interest. There is no grouping that is particularly attracting a certain interest group. Even NRM, they masquerade as the mass party, and they say they are broad-based. Cattle keepers come. Those who want to, the federalists come. The conservatives come. The witch doctors also, the Ramafinas, you'll find us supplying Museveni money in the election. All of them come. A broad-based movement.
Interesting.
I don't know what kind of political grouping that can be, but it has efficiently worked for them.
Wow. Very in-depth analysis. I will take a short commercial break. Hellen, I want to end with you. Is that the female factor that has, over time, I don't know what role it has played in our politics, but I would say not much. In the previous election, we had that lady, what's her name?
Nancy Kalembe.
Yes, Nancy Kalembe. The previous election, we had another lady, Charlie. I saw a post somewhere about the Honorable Winnie Byanyima, showing interest in the presidential bid. So, do we think that the women movement are going to begin to demand for a bigger stake in this country's politics?
I do not think we are yet there yet. The politics of this country, we have to first deal with how the system is organized.
The structure.
The structure does not favor such interest groups to come up and have a clear stake or a clear way to winning an election.
But to be fair enough, you have the Speaker of Parliament,
we have the Speaker of Parliament,
the
but
Prime Minister.
But you know what it takes for you to be there. These are positions that are, if it was adult suffrage, the difference is that the others are appointed and maybe go through a college voting, but an adult suffrage election is not easy. Do you know what it means for a woman to run from Kisoro to Karamoja in an election? It's not easy. And you know that the system that we have does not favor such women to run.
But I mean, Winnie Byanyima,
I will give an example.
What does she lack? She's tested. She has.
The election is too monetized. And too militaristic. Women are very, very fragile. They are fragile. They are people that cannot be on such a ground. So you do not expect. Well, I saw her video and I know she's going to come, but let's wait. Me, I know in this country, even these interest groups, the women movements and what they are not real to themselves. So that's why you'll have feminists talk, let's support women, but there are ones that will let them down. We still have a long way to go with issues of feminism and even youth. You can have a youthful person. We had Katumba. How many voted her? Voted Katumba, and we are still the largest voter group as young people. So we still have a long way to go in terms of that. We must deal with some of the issues that are on table for us to have some of these groups go through in such elections. Yes.
Okay. But also, Comrade Kidega, just a statement.
Sure.
How many of those women you have mentioned, like the speaker, the prime minister, have their politics run along being women? Okay. How many of them can we say represent an indigenous women group? That for them they have been here and they are known for being the face of the women movement and pushing for women interests.
Someone like Maria Matembe, who has been, consistent on that journey of women.
Exactly. How far has she gone when it comes to the Speaker of Parliament, Prime Minister? And we say they are there because they represent a very huge group that cannot be ignored. Okay, even Katumba running for president, what was his youth agenda? Could we say he was the youth candidate? He was the youthful
candidate,
but was he the youth candidate? You know, biology and ideology. Biologically, he's a youth.
from the old man very well. So I don't know. Okay, just to put it to you,
Uganda is generally a patriarchal country. Where having even men rally to support a woman will become a problem. So those are some of the things that we must agree and accept and put on table and say that one is what it is. How do we solve this problem? And we still have other women who are also in the patriarchal system and say, how can I be led by a woman?
Really?
Yes, it's very many.
But
very many down there.
But
our personally
even
look
in
at
parliament,
women.
if you're to see people that
there's
can
no
be
woman who has
fighting like
come on the
Anita, they're
political
women.
party.
Let us hear their opinions. Yeah?
These women who have come, not on the political party. All of them have been coming as independent.
Do you know how hard it is
Betty
to go into the
Kakamia
delegates conference?
had a political party, right?
Yes, she had.
Federal something.
And
her issue was federal.
So
that was a good issue.
It was a good issue.
So I don't know.
So they always, and their political parties die. Like they just come, they crop up when election is coming.
Yeah.
1 year to elections.
But basically,
you wait 2025. You will see.
I'm thinking that as a woman, when you want to come up, then give us a reason. Let's look at the women in power.
Okay, do you ask men for reasons? As well? I mean, I
This
think you
is
should
by
ask
the
men.
time-
Do they run simply because they are men?
No.
No, but you see,
Now,
I think that let's put them on the same
how
weighing
many
scale.
women-
If we're asking men for
Comrade
reasons,
Kidega.
so should we ask them?
Comrade Kidega,
The
how
females,
many men can keep the mantle that Dr. Besigye has? How many women can keep the mantle that Dr. Besigye has kept? After the election, how many women did we see coming back to still push for their cause? Perhaps if they had,
properties
yes,
were being taken.
if
because of
Kalemba
loans.
had stayed on the political scene today, we would be saying that lady is serious. She's coming back. But the issue is, after elections, as women, we go back and sit and cook. It's done. Cook what?
Again.
I don't know, but
How many? We've seen men be
What
consistent.
really avoids that resilience?
We've seen men
Yeah,
be
exactly.
consistent.
What affects the resilience?
What affects the
I do
resilience?
not
System of
want
the country.
context.
It's
I do
Context.
not want to bring in any
You must be
reason.
too shrewd
They are not
and
operating
aggressive
in Canada.
to keep the momentum running. You see, we can even use the live examples of the young women that come up in politics. How many sustained the ground for even 10 years?
But no, okay, then how
It
do you
is-
explain the
okay.
likes of the Honorable Kadagas,
No,
the
those in
Honorable
office.
Winnie Kizas? I mean, they've been consistent
The
and have
time
been
they came
here.
up
And
is the time. You look at
They've
the
been
timing.
consistent
The
where
timing is not the
Alisa
same.
Lasso,
Not even the timing.
Do you know what Alisa Lasso is
Not
going
even
through? She
the
failed the
timing.
election recently.
you see,
Yes,
Do you
I-
think taking
Miss
her back
Hellen,
now
eh?
is easy?
No,
Miss Hellen, when it comes to
Guarantee isn't a
consistency, I want us
success.
to
It is-
focus on the
success isn't a
presidential seat.
guarantee.
Because if you're talking about consistency, as women, we shall be consistent in all these other offices. But the fact is, if you're saying that it is really possible, then let the Speaker to Parliament come for presidentship today. And
Let
let
her
her beat
come.
the odds. Since you're
And
saying
come.
they've been
Okay,
consistent.
what stops
And we
the women of
Would you
Uganda?
support her?
What stops the
I personally
women of
wouldn't.
Uganda from supporting Honorable Winnie Byanyima? What
Well,
stops you?
first of all, let's go back to the ordinary citizen. How many ordinary citizens, I mean ordinary citizens, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Will sit down to them and tell you, I know Winnie
Everything,
Byanyuma beyond her name.
Now you who
That's
knows
household
her,
name.
okay. Now you who knows her, it is not your
She will
duty
not even
to
board her.
make those people get to know her.
How many
It's your
times
duty.
has Winnie Byanyuma come to me? You know, this is where Museveni beats all odds.
That's it.
No,
How many
this
times
is
has
where the
Museveni
current
come to you?
president beats the odds. All the people you're seeing that have kept in power. Museveni, regardless of how bad he is, he will get time for some youth who he thinks will be important in his coming election. If you haven't met him, then probably, or if you haven't met his close allies, you meet either Museveni or his close allies, because he knows I'll need Kidega when I'm going to Gulu. When you look at Bobby Wine, he knows, okay, I came from Kamocha, and this is the base. That's why regardless of how much his political scene goes down, when he goes to Kamocha, people will stand up for him because he went there. How many women are going to go to where they expect their broad support to come from? There are very few. Why do you think Mao still has time to go to Gulu
I honestly
and be
believe
like,
that
this is
Uganda is a patrilineal system.
That's what I see.
That even to be a head of a family, you must be a man. Still, they can hardly recognize you as a head of a family, as a woman, even when you're providing everything. How many of the political parties have engendered constitutions? How many political parties do you see that have female presidents? It is only that Betty Kamya that had tried with the federal. The other side,
You had, I think,
Mama Bote. You know why she was there for her? She already had her way there.
Yes.
Alice Alaso, I think, is heading the
Alice Alaso is still
ANC,
battling with Muntu. The public can hardly recognize Alice Alaso when as the leader of ANT when Mugisha Muntu is there. So I think even political parties have a role to play in helping and shaping the gender politics. Because if you want to tell me, for example, in DP, a woman, you have to battle your way out. And you know why we have do you know why we had to come up with I'm forgetting how we came to have female women districts per district? It's because we saw it was becoming very hard. If we didn't have it, trust me, by now would be affirmative action, yes. If we didn't have it, trust me, we would be having like 3 MPs in parliament who are female. Because the ground is very hostile for us to operate as women.
Well, fair enough. Viewers, we are due for a short commercial break. And we love it that you're here with us, and just not move a muscle. See you shortly after this commercial break.
National Water and Sewage Corporation is committed to providing cost-effective, clean, safe and reliable quality water and sewage solutions in urban centers across Uganda. National Water and Sewage Corporation reaffirms its commitment to 100% service coverage, geographical expansion, infrastructure development, water quality, pro-poor initiatives, customer care and stakeholder engagement, catchment and water source protection. Be a water hero. Pay your bills to zero balance. Report all leaks, busts, and illegal water connections to enable us serve you better. Reach us through our toll-free numbers on 0800 200 977 or 0800 300 977. You can also communicate with us through any of our online platforms or visit the National Water and Sewage Corporation office nearest to you. This message is brought to you by National Water and Sewage Corporation.
We'll be back from that, quite interesting commercial break. Hope you, picked a few tips here and there. And we shall just continue from where we stopped. So guys, we need to move on to the economy, but let us just put the political discussion to bed once and for all. So in your parting shots on this particular topic of the political events, someone mentioned the constitutional amendment. I don't know where that angle is coming from, whether it would be about the presidential election, articles. I don't know, but conclusively, what events, if you're to cite out, are going to, be meaningful to in this year moving forward? So, Gady, I'll just begin with you.
Okay. One, I'm going to talk on the line with NRM. One, we really need to restructure in NRM. That is on the youth wing. We need to restructure and bring in more vibrant youth that will champion development, of course. And youth are basically the high of a country. So we need to bring in more vibrant youth to take charge Then, of course, the president, like she said, it's long overdue for the reshuffle. We need more minds. We are fed up of the ones who are there. I'm very clear because all of us are driving in the streets of Kampala. They keep moving there with their sirens, but there is nothing that is.
Okay, what are the options that are there?
No, I'm not going to bring the options. I have that one. But the president needs our own judgment. Yeah. But truly, we just need a reshuffle, and we bring in fresh minds who are looking at changing a given perspective, changing something in the society. You saw last time when SFC came to work on the roads. Again, we are looking at other people coming to accuse them. So you realize that most people are just in this thing to make money. So we should try to, bring in different minds so that we can see a different change. So basically, we need restructuring in the government.
Restructuring.
Yeah, sure.
Baino,
Yes, please.
the politics of this year moving forward.
Well, to start with the cabinet reshuffle, I would recommend James Pire in the new government. But yeah,
As a minister of information,
regardless,
Transport.
put him somewhere and see what he can do, because he basically has a lot to say and he seems to understand the system so well.
wasn't that what we said about Ramadan Ngovi? He spoke about the economy.
Economies
And
and work.
There is a difference between working
They put him there
and making noise on the media.
He was put there.
Now you see,
Can we say Ramadan
I know
Ngovi
James
has
Pire
made a big
seems
difference?
to know what he's really doing. So, regardless, you see, there's nothing that shows the real colors of a man like power. So you can put him there either for him to be loved the more, or to also come to a scene where they are putting him out in public and be like, you were here making noise. But regardless, I will still
Because I
stick
think
to
the same applies for Dr. Atwini. She made so much noise about the health.
now.
And she was appointed, and
Now with her, I don't want to.
No,
give
but
my
I mean,
but-
I'm only giving you examples
Professor
that.
Paul
Yeah, can continue.
Regardless, I'll still stick to my thing. I personally smell constitution amendments in regards to the presidential election. Yeah, constitution amendments. I see it might be inevitable for us to do away without them this year. Especially that article that says for someone to qualify as a presidential candidate, you must be a citizen of Uganda by birth.
Interesting. Big questions there. Yes, Roy.
Big questions.
Well, I saw a headline that Parliament will be electing president, but I think President Museveni can still win a popular vote.
Sure.
So you want to look there.
Yes.
But maybe in the 2026-2031, in the bigger thought of what next, they might go that direction. But now he will still win, with or without rigging.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's still very popular.
I think.
Yeah.
And this time he's going to win with less effort.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I agree.
That's interesting.
I
How I
could
wish
talk.
I had a staunch NUP radical in this panel. It would be a different
like
story.
me?
Someone like Kidega should have been here.
Perhaps you would agree. A few
Yeah.
of these things.
But these things
But,
are visible. It's now like a public secret. You can see where things are headed, and the guy stands a chance. So it could even be the perfect time for the youth who think they are capable to show what they can do.
I don't know what lenses these people use to see things, but according to what I see, things are going to become harder. And it amuses me when it is the young people that are saying this.
Then why did we
Like
cooperate?
you're not seeing the efforts. For us, we are headed for nationwide campaign now. We want to
So
go and see our people.
The president general is
mobilize.
coming for the presidential race again.
Every political party is now headed for national mobilization. And you see, do not when it is raining, most of the birds tend to sit on the tree branch and keep quiet. I don't think they don't fly. So I think that is where you are leaning all your judgment.
But we are talking about
speaking.
political parties with 3 presidents, just that there is one who is known.
It's because I'm telling you it's raining and most of the birds are just sitting on the tree.
What's happening?
Wait.
These
DP
people.
There is nothing like DP's
There is
people.
there is
is
one that
NRM.
is
No, God, I don't think
You come to Noop. Their only
God,
agenda is to remove
God, I have a
dictator.
simple question for
Remove a
you.
dictator.
You, God, when you engage with me as a woman, do you become a woman?
No.
Exactly. So that is what is happening.
No, that is
See,
We are seated on the same panel now talking.
You're given.
No, when God marries you, you become one.
We do not.
No,
that is why there is
even the
divorce.
Bible says
you leave
That is
your,
why there is divorce.
you leave
No,
your
the
My
Bible
mother
question
and
is-
father.
No,
and
Because
you become
ours
one.
is a contract written
no,
down.
you're
Yeah,
basing on
But
the,
well,
you're basing
we
on
cannot
the,
right
on
now
the,
start
on the-
underrating
on
the
the-
impact
on the
of that
situation in the
contract
world.
towards
You people
DP's
should
But
allow
me
us.
as a Christian man, I base marriage brings
You
you
see?
as one. Even the Bible says
Honorable
a
God,
woman and man
wait.
will come together
You should
and be
allow
one.
us who are in the corporation
Now-
and who
now you see,
understand.
Honorable Hellen.
So when you marry, you
I'm
become
UID.
I think we should
But
have
you're not in the
panel discussion
cooperation
where
alone.
we are going to
You're not in the cooperation alone.
help these people
You're not in the
understand what
cooperation.
the
Are you
cooperation
helping
is.
us?
Comrade
Are you
Kidega,
helping us? or
I'm
we are helping
UID.
you?
There is a difference between a
But
cooperation
we can't
agreement, a
underestimate
merger, and a
You-
coalition.
the impact
you
of the
cannot-
cooperation
you-
We are not in a
agreement.
coalition.
You
we
form
are
a
in
house that has
merger.
been sealed
We
very
are in a
well.
People
cooperation.
cannot
No,
finish
this
his
is my
statement.
time.
Specifics.
I beg to be protected.
We are cooperating on specifics, and this is what.
No, let's
Let's
stop beating about the bush.
When we sit here and talk about your issues,
DP has
will you become a
struggled.
woman?
DP has struggled to defend that position of the cooperation. You know, you
There is
cooperated,
nothing like
then you
struggling.
came up to defend. It is
there is
useless.
nothing like to defend.
You don't come and
Of course,
cooperate and
we
struggle to
we
defend.
understand
When
that
you
we are
marry a woman, you
operating
come
in a
and defend the
country.
behavior of a woman.
We
Comrade
understand
Kidega.
that we are operating in a country
Well,
where
protect
very
my
few people
time, comrade.
understand
I'll give you
I-
time.
So
I-
we must help Ugandans understand where Uganda is. And that's
I-
why we've been here long and we are not going anywhere. That we understand this country more than anyone.
But I
So if
personally
we are
can't
telling you that we are cooperating
underestimate
for
the
sake of
impact of the
Uganda,
cooperation
please
on our
listen.
party, like as UID. First of all, I'm looking at us having to defend the fact that our President General is coming back into the race. People will be like, so all along you people still had an independent party.
Mable,
Like,
the fact
we're
is
talking about
we
an
are not in
ordinary
a
man.
merger, we are not in a coalition, we are in a cooperation agreement.
All right.
And
please.
what amuses me is that even these people who have gone to school, who have even gotten a chance to read the cooperation agreement, do not understand it.
It's because there's
And
a
that
lot
is
that
where I
is not
even feel
written in
sorry
books.
for my generation
This is
from.
common knowledge.
That
Just
even
common
things
knowledge.
that are written down and they can see, they don't understand it. Have you gone to City House and you didn't find our offices? That means we are still very independent.
FDC
We said we
still
are
has
cooperating
offices too.
on specifics.
But where is
They are
it?
very specific, the things that we are cooperating on.
Okay.
We
Okay.
didn't merge.
Okay.
We didn't do a coalition.
It
We
was
are
just
in
a
cooperation
cooperation.
agreement.
Cooperation.
Comrade,
Yes.
my time.
Okay. Let's give
It was
Roy
hijacked
his
by
2 minutes.
Cooperation
Of
agreement.
parting shot.
His 2 minutes, then we move to the economy.
Okay. I think what will determine this election is the divorcing of the youth from the politics of radicalism to pushing for meaningful change peacefully. And I could bet on that. But also political parties are also going to be reorganizing themselves, especially their youth leagues and other leagues this year. So that also could be a huge factor within the politics. We have the starting of campaigns. We shall see more of our members of parliament being more frequent in their constituencies, because after this year, next year around September, will be primaries and the actual voting. So we shall see more political activity this year. We shall, even when NUP and opposition goes out to organize, we shall see less police involvement and brutality. I think I could be wrong, but there will be so much reduced police brutality and military involvement within the politics, at least this year. Basically, other than that, there's really nothing much that will happen on the political scene that that will be a shocker.
All right, fair enough. So let's shift gears, guys, to the economy. I think last year was a year where Ugandans felt the pinch of what it means to be in an economy that isn't working. The price of commodities went high, and I think up to now, fuel is still at what? At 5,500, around there. So the prices of commodities have not come down. The inflation rate now stands at what? At 9%? 9-10% inflation rate. So I don't know. Do we see ourselves getting out of this economic situation? Because you look at government expenditure on the cost of public administration. Jesus Christ. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It is just as bad as it is. So, Baino,
Yes.
the economy, it is biting very, very hard.
Yeah.
Do we see anything changing this year? Do we see our debt burden being serviced better? Do we see, for example, the parish development model being able to start to actualize its real impact of getting the 39% of people who are not in the money economy? So I don't know this year what economic factors are going to be really crucial. Is it the PDM? Is it?
According to me, the PDM has been a talk for so long, and I don't see it really impacting people except a few. But when we talk about the economy, you can't separate the economy from politics. Being that we are really headed for serious politics, this economy is going to continue to pinch those who do not know how to handle political matters. Because you cannot tell me that the economy is pinching with the big budgets that you can see running around. We need these billions for this, we need these billions for this. So basically, first of all, the gap between the rich and the poor is going to become bigger. We can't underrate the fact that we are still having a lot of Ugandans living below the poverty lines. We still have Ugandans who can only afford daily food. You go to work today, eat, and then go to look for tomorrow's food. And it's going to continue because I personally think it is intentional.
Sure.
It is really hard to govern people who can afford life.
So it's intentional to keep people poor.
Why do you think we are going to have reduced radicalism and everything? Is that people are going to be struggling for their lives, and you're not going to waste their time in strikes and everything. So I personally, looking at it from a politician's eye, it is intentional, and it works for those who it works for. With me, it is intentional.
Sure.
I find it intentional.
Gady, she thinks that keeping the people in poverty is deliberate.
No,
It's an I don't know.
It's not deliberate.
It's
By
deliberate.
It's not even by mistake.
Last time, let me complete. Last time, the
okay.
president was saying agriculture, Ugandans are still using those ancient means of agriculture. But I think that as a president, he could do something. I think, was it yesterday, but one in German, Munich, the agriculturists were striking and they put tractors in the way. And no one chased them away, no one did what, because they know that in their government, when they stand up for their subsidiaries and everything, action will be taken. Here, when workers, teachers, or agriculturists come out and claim for what they feel is theirs, what is done?
Okay, are you saying that the farmers are not being supported through NADs, through
They are not supported enough.
all those things, with seedlings, incentives,
They are
and
not supported
fertilizers?
enough.
Which farmers?
They are not supported enough. And besides that,
Which farmers?
besides that, we have farmers, we have traders
growers.
associations in Uganda, farmers associations and everything, but we've not really felt the impact of these associations. This is why I come to tell you that if we have such associations, people coming together and everything, but the economy is not going anywhere. It is intended, I want us as politicians to believe that for some reason you might gain from governing the poor.
Okay, I think fair enough.
You remain the god.
Let me just bring in Gady.
This is why elections are monetarized.
Gady, I think that if a government can take away the burden of social services, you're able to provide affordable healthcare, affordable transport, affordable education, then people can use the money that they're earning to better themselves and to grow themselves economically. But with the current reality today, where education is a commodity, like it is so expensive. To get quality healthcare, you either choose to line up in that long line at Mulago, or you go to a private, very expensive entity like Aga Khan. So, the economy, do we see a government being more intentional this year to help its citizens get out of this desperate economic situation?
Are you going to lie?
Okay, I'm not going to lie, I'll tell you the truth. One truth is that, what she has said, the truth is that it is easier to govern a poor person. That is one truth. But I don't see it as intentional to do that. Why do I say so? Because the government has come up with different, easier means to help the communities. The government has brought some of the services closer to the communities that people live in. I can give an example of Karamoja. One thing, the industries are cropping up. Government is trying to bring that closer. Government is fighting to see that right now they have closed the border between Turkana and the Karamojongs because the Turkana came and when they killed the geologists. So the influx of guns into Uganda is going to reduce. And so insecurity is one of the factors that retard development in that area.
True.
And of course, and also these other commercial banks have come up with the different, different easy loans for people to get to start up. PDM is there, they're giving people, just say PDM, one thing that I don't see, they're not advising people in the right way. They say PDM, 1 million is not enough for you to go and cultivate. 1 million can help you become a middle person. You can buy from a farmer and go and sell. 1 million can help you. 1 million cannot help you to go and start cultivating land, buy seeds, do everything and wait for more 6 months for something to mature. No, it can't help. Yeah, so the way they're advising people should change. Let them not go into production. Let them go into being middlemen to sell, buy and sell.
Then who will carry out the production if everyone is a middleman?
There are different farmers. There are farmer groups. And one thing that I've realized, I've noticed, farmer groups are doing very well in Uganda. That is the truth. Farmer groups are doing very well in Uganda. Bank of Uganda has provided loans in terms of tractors, in terms of what you go get a tractor, you go and cultivate, you go different things. Like it has brought a lot of things.
So you're sure 1 million is enough for one to become a middleman?
It can help you start up. It can help you start up. Okay. If you've seen more money than like me, if I've seen more money than 1 million, it cannot help me. But the person in the village there, deep in the village, you give the person 1 million. A person who has not seen a blackboard.
Yeah, it's true. That's why farmers are not being paid what they should get.
You give them 1 million. Trust me, and he has a good mindset. He can multiply that. I have evidence in Kayunga. A boy was given 1 million and he went and bought eggs. And he started from there. And right now he has taken back the money. He said he doesn't want to stay. He has started his own money. So he said, I've got my money. So why should I stay with this money of PDM? Let me take it back.
So PDM is actually working.
It is working. It is working. But just say the mindset of some people is what really is locking them into that aspect of remaining in poverty. But the government of Uganda is really trying its best to make sure that people come out of this poverty. Even if you don't reach that level, it's not easy to make someone reach the level of riches. There will still be that gap. But can this person be lifted up a little to avoid the issue that happened in Karamoja where people were dying because of anger? That's what the government is trying to do, to bring at least to lift up people from the level where they are, to try to bring them somewhere where they can access some else facilities, where they can access transport to go to some places to buy food, where they can access
bare minimum in life.
nutrition, to improve their nutrition. That is what the government is looking at. We're a developing country. Let's look at that first as a developing country. We cannot have what the United States have. We cannot have what South Africa has. We cannot have what other countries have. We're developing nation.
Development.
We're developing nation.
Yeah.
We are trying. We are trying.
Okay.
And we are going to reach there sometime. So let's first have that in mind, and let's try to work towards the limits that we have to see that we can reach somewhere. And of course, this is a question to government to reduce at least the spending in most of these useless, I can call them useless things, because they are not working.
Mindset change.
Mindset change is very key.
Very
Don't look at it as something that is so
teaching youth
useless.
how to take tea,
Yeah, it is very important.
Teaching people how to take coffee.
how to take coffee.
Mindset change is really so key in a society.
Yeah.
And it can
You-
help.
you
It depends
find
on how you package it.
You find
true.
It depends
worth
on how you
that
package it. Yeah, it depends on how you package it. If you look at it in the other negative aspect, it will go like that.
How many billion?
If you look at it in a positive
Like
aspect,
really?
if you look at the positive aspect, you can go with that. Yeah. So
Okay.
it depends on how you package it. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Helen, still on the economy. I think by end of this year, if in the next financial year we borrow the amount of money that we borrowed in the previous financial year, our debt burden is going to reach what we call the debt ceiling. We are going to exceed the debt ceiling should we borrow money to finance the next financial year. So that indicates to you how bad things are. URA continues to tell us that they anticipate to, collect more revenue and things like that. Sorry. Do you think that URA, first of all, is well equipped, for example, to endure tax compliance, right? I saw yesterday they come up with a tax manual for the Chinese, right? I think all that is being done in anticipation to collect more revenue. Because I think a country that cannot finance its development cannot go far. So I don't know, what dynamics do you see are going to influence the economy? Do you think URA is going to collect more money? Are we seeing more investment coming into the country? I don't know. I just don't know where this economy stands.
We've spent 3 years without governor. Bank of Uganda. I think we are going to the fourth year.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, recently Uganda was chased out of AGOA because of the LGBTQ. And we have not had any discussions ongoing in regard to those two. Yet they are very important. I don't know why Museveni thinks that a governor is not that important, and therefore we can spend all this long without him. Most likely he will appoint in 2025 for political reasons. Museveni is very strategic. There was recently a meeting at Kololo with investors.
Yes.
They met with President Museveni and the cabinet ministers, some of them. We still have very serious people who should be paying taxes instead being tax exempted. And we have these people with struggling businesses
are choking on debt.
Choking on debts with being taxed, being milked every now and then. So I
think our tax regime is not.
Yes, it is not clear enough.
It is outward looking.
Exactly, and that is where most of our problems come from. That we have a tax collection entity that does not look at things the way they should be looked at. I don't see why we should have a person with a business that has a sum of 5 million being taxed, and then we have another one of 100 being tax exempted. instead of allowing the other one to grow, because that is how the economy is going to grow. So we need to deal with these nitty-gritties on ground. Otherwise, I see we are headed for another serious
for tough times.
Supplementaries, I don't know whether these cabinet ministers are never around when the budget is being passed. Supplementaries already, we
Actually,
have
in the
Minister of
quarter,
Health.
In the first quarter of this financial year, there was a supplementary request.
Exactly.
In Parliament.
We have Minister of Health asking for Rugumayo Hospital. I saw KCCA wants to put up a COVID statue. I don't know what it's called, the statue.
A COVID what?
They want to organize an event for COVID remembrance.
For COVID remembrance.
600 million.
So they are
Who
putting in
KCCA. Budget is 600 million.
It's also a supplementary request.
To remember COVID?
Yeah.
Yes. State House.
They saw it in Canada.
State House already also is requesting for a supplementary
3.5 billion?
For administrative runs. And I do not know whether we are really a serious country if we still have, instead of, as DP we've been longer yearning for cut of some of these administrative offices, because we believe they are just chopping and eating taxpayers' money, yet they are not even delivering. In a country where we are struggling with the economy, we shouldn't be having some of these luxurious appointments. And don't get surprised if we get more appointments next in the reshuffle of advisors, of RDCs, of new districts formations. You saw Electoral Commission now wants to gazette more about 46
constituencies.
Yes, around positions. And all that is a burden to the taxpayers' money. We have a country that does not look at expenditure versus the tax. Mostly, I think we rely too much on. Yes, I think we rely too much. Our mind runs collectively to
expenditure.
To not to expenditure. We have to first put up the positions where we're going to spend that before we look at where is the money going to come from. And that is how we've ended up, we are ending up choking on debts.
Deficit,
I think even my grandchild will have to pay the debts that this country is in because of just luxurious and extravagance. Because when you look at, for example, the budget that was given to the Speaker's office, you look at the budget that is within State House, and you see the potholes in Kampala where service delivery rotates around, because most of the businesses are centered here, and this is where the taxes are collected from mostly than the other districts. And you see that our taxes do not reflect the services that we get. That is where the problem comes from. So we just need to pull up a little bit of our socks in terms of if surely we had services being delivered to the tune of the taxes that we pay, Ugandans wouldn't flex at all to pay taxes. But we are going to get to a time where Ugandans will wonder, why do I pay my taxes, yet I do not have the services? Inflation, it's not about to stop because of the expenditure that I've been talking about. If we are not careful, if Ramadan does not pull up his stockings, of course, the problem is that sometimes when you're in the system, however much wise you are, if you're there alone, it may cover you up.
True. So
Ramadan, also whom we thought was going to be of great impact, is alone struggling with a whole, the whole economy is on his head looking out for solutions. And I heard you asking her that you thought Ramadan, we shouted so much that Ramadan was going to help us, but Ramadan is in the whole system almost alone. How many even cabinet ministers or even in parliament people have you had talking about how best can we run away from this debt? Very many people, even it doesn't concern them. Our economy favors the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. The rich still want to milk from the poor, and the poor keep getting poorer. That is where the problem is from for me.
Now, Roy, I am not an economist, but I think the economic discussion to me is very, very pertinent because she mentioned us not having a Governor Bank of Uganda. We know the role of a central bank in terms of managing things like inflation through monetary policy. You know, how do we reduce the money in circulation? That is the role of the central bank, which must have a substantive leader. If you bring it back to elements such as you look at our public expenditure, it is exorbitant. It's appalling. All right. Some had thought that the angle of privatization, that let us privatize, let us have a liberal economy, let's have the forces of demand and supply dictate the market price. We thought that would somehow encourage economic growth, but as it stands, it looks like the private sector is struggling. So I don't know. What is the economic reality that we need to fast track this year for things to get better? Is it URA? Is it?
Well, I think the absence of the Governor Bank of Uganda has not made our economy better or even worse. It's not that with the governor, the economy was all rosy and nice. Now, without the governor and without anyone appointed, we are facing doomsday. It was always the same. So it should point us to a direction. Do we need the governor? Do we need the president? Do we need all these people, all these offices that we think without them we would cease to exist? Okay? Can we build systems that have been built in Bank of Uganda that can be resilient and sustain themselves even in the absence of an office bearer in the position of governor? Because I think Bank of Uganda is holding up just well, even without a governor. Perhaps they could be doing better with a governor there, but it has not been doomsday in a governor's absence. So can we build systems where we don't need a president for us to survive, but decisions can be taken, things can be done, and done well, even without the presidency? Do we need the presidency? How much do we spend to sustain the office of the president in this country? Is it relevant? I don't know. Regarding the economy, I think Comrade Sankara says it well, that we have to make a decision whether we are going to have champagne for a few or safe drinking water for the many. And I think we have taken the other choice as a country, that a few will take a lot of champagne, so much of it will go through their noses, and then the many won't even have safe drinking water. When you see the amount of money we spend to finance administration, it is appalling. When the other year, when we had COVID, you saw the kinds of loans we are taking. We are spending much more on administration of COVID, on paying allowances for people to do this and that, than we are spending on the vaccines themselves. Okay? Even now, we are spending much more money on administering an office of the president than we are spending on education for the many millions of Ugandans that are there. I've not seen a supplementary budget for education. Maybe I need to look at it more closely, the breakdown of the supplementary budgets. So it's very wrong, the direction we have taken, or the leadership of this country has taken. Yesterday, I saw a tweet by someone who was crying at the state of our economy, that we contribute 0.01% to global economics. So people are moving around with convoys pushing us off the road to simply go and contribute 0.01%. Africa generally contributes 1% to global, rather we contributes 4% to global economics, and how much we contribute to continental economics? 1%. Those are very absurd statistics. And the person goes ahead to say we need to grow the size of the pie. And that is the truth. With the bigger economy, everyone gets to gain more. Even the politician gets
to corrupt money.
No, I mean they get to have a bigger budget to operate on. Because I think as a country, it wouldn't be an issue getting 140 SUVs to drive around delegates for a conference if the economy was big enough to sustain it. But when we are looking at that small money for medicine in hospital, it becomes justifiable for people to cry over cars a country has bought to transport delegates.
And you know, interesting. So because when our presidents went to the UK, they were actually put in a bus.
buses.
I mean, the contexts are very different. We cannot compare. But also the economics are going to be even harder this year, particularly because you know how oil fuels economics. And if you're observant, you've seen the geopolitics in the Middle East and how oil is going to be very inaccessible. Okay? You've seen the row with Kenya itself regarding fuel and our ability to access the sea. That is a very big economic issue. And China currently is facing a deflation. Now, they are going to try and reduce how much they are spending beyond their borders, how much they are giving to countries like Uganda in loans, so that they contain the deflation back at home, reduce taxes on businesses and on people so that they can substitute the money they were going to pay taxes to try and spend on goods and services within their own economy. Okay, so they are going to be doing internal mechanism to try and sustain their own economy, and that's the place we've been going with our begging basket. The US has an election in November. Okay, and it's between a government that is so much for human rights and will stop all economic ties for a gay bill, and a party that is saying America first. We are tired of being the policeman of the world, and we need to spend on our own national security, to spend on our southern border, to spend on the health of our people, to spend on education and raising our education standards so that we can compete globally. That is the Republican agenda now. And the Democrat agenda is globalist, but with strings attached. Police brutality that we currently face, our stance on gays, sanctions. So we are between a rock and a hard place regarding the US and affiliated financial institutions like the World Bank, IMF. So it's going to come back to us. The little that URA collects, are we going to choose drinking water for the 49 million Ugandans, or very nice champagne for the less than 1 million involved in the politics?
Good question. Our time is fast spent. I'm going to give us all 90 seconds to just your parting shots on this show. I'll begin with the Baino as I move towards Roy. Just maybe you can look to the camera and your parting shots.
Thank you so much. I've been gratified and I'm so humbled to be here. My first time, but possibly not the last. And yeah, it's not the last. I look forward to more engagements. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
All right, interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you were still talking.
She has yielded her 60 seconds to you.
Oh, okay. You know, every year, for a human being, we always make our strategic and planning to last 1 year. That's why every new year, we say, what new thing will I do this year? So at the end of the year, we always evaluate ourselves, then again we start. Yeah, it's really key for us to see that some of the things can be achieved along the year, and to see that our economics is really growing. Basically, what we are looking at is the economy to grow. These other factors are what is really affecting the politics, the security, the health, the what. Those are the things that are affecting the economy in growing. So we as a government, we as a country, should really look forth, and as a youth, should see that we focus on a major goal, to see that we can have a future for our kids that are going to come up. Yeah, so that even if we take up most of these positions in government, which I believe we are going to do in the near future, we should also look at developing our country. We should look at creating a difference from now and then. And that is what really we long to achieve. And of course, as we are going into the political atmosphere, and it is coming up, we should see how we minimize the damages that can be caused to our human health and also to our property at large. Yeah, that is all I have to say. And I wish everyone a great and productive year ahead of them.
Sure. Helen, the floor is yours.
Yes, 2024 is here. By the way, population census is going to take place this year. There are some opportunities that young people should look out there. They have a budget of about 52 billion.
Count us.
Yes, to count us. We should definitely be part of it, and let us set goals that are going to be achievable and help us move from where we are to another level. Definitely, I would advise and call upon young people there to participate in any activity that is going to help in development of yourself as an individual and your neighbor and the country. The young people in NRM should participate in the grassroots elections and take power, because it doesn't look good to have a meeting at Kololo of SEC and it only has Nasura as the younger person. Gaddafi of NRM. It doesn't look good. Please participate. Let us have young people on these structures of these political parties. DP, we are likely also to have a delegate conference by the end of this year.
Why pointing at me?
People love DP so much. When I talk about it, they get happy. Yes, DP, we are likely to have a delegate conference also. And this year, the National Youth Council elections start next year. So the earlier we get on ground and start mobilizing for those who want to be part of these structures, the better. We need to start strategically positioning ourselves. The days that are coming, you must be on the table. And I think we need to get to the decision-making tables of the days, because it doesn't feel good to be participated. Because, in this country, you're either participating or you're being participated. So you're either in the game playing or they are playing you. We need to pull up our socks, strategize, and get to decision-making tables of this country, because the future, is ours, and even today is ours. So we need to get there. Otherwise, I want to thank Civic Space for always giving us this time to come and, talk about issues that build this country of ours.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Roy, you have the final words.
Oh, really? Thank you so much. we play so much politics in this country. You know, just yesterday we were in a general election, after which we went into another election in Omoro, almost every year. And now, 2 years to the general election, people in their thousands are gearing up for the next election.
Yes.
So when do we actually get to serve? When do we get to now discuss development? When do people who hold offices get to work, to play economics and not politics, to play social cohesion, to play the things that matter more and rather not politics? It's something we need to have a very thorough work on, because there's no country that has developed because of this much politics. We have so much politics every time. This Lee Kuan Yew says that he had, when he took over in Singapore, he had 2 options: to work for himself and his family, to appear on the Forbes magazine, or to work for his country so that it appears on the list of the 10 most developed countries. He chose to work for his country.
African leaders.
I think when the African leaders came, the other option had already been taken.
Yeah.
So they chose the remaining one, which was sadly. But this year, we hope to see a difference in the way we do politics. Because when you follow the young people in the WhatsApp groups we are in, on Twitter, there seems to be a renewed agitation for service. They seem to be asking more questions. Well, what are you doing, Kidega? What are you doing in your office as this? Maybe I'm seeing badly, but there seems to be that urgency to ask.
Pressure.
Yes, what are you doing? They seem to be asking, where did this MP go? We've not heard from them. What are they doing?
Agnes Nandu.
Yes, where is Agnes Nandu? Gundi, where is this going? You people, what about our roads? I saw a slay queen on a border. And they were recording a video for maybe TikTok or Instagram, and there was a pothole that hit the border and the bra. Something got out of the bra. And she says, and I even so her interpretation of the situation was, okay, her echali chimuluma nti ebere likozechi livudde mu kalega. Naye she saw what the problem was. The problem was the pothole.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that she immediately saw where the problem was and wished for a better road. So no matter what you're doing, you might not be interested. I saw a meme of a milk truck that got stuck on a poor road. And someone was saying, this one said they don't want to get involved in politics. They just want to sell their milk. But you see, the politics will always want to get involved with you. So we appreciate whenever we see people coming up to ask for better. Also this year, we hope to see the government tapping into the ingenuity of the young people, their willingness to do things better, their creativity in media, in doing things, in designing, in architecture. The young people are doing well in these fields. So let us see our government and our society according more space for the young people, because that is where the world is headed. Also, I appreciate Civic space for creating this environment for us to come and speak our minds openly and participate in building a better country. Thank you so much.
Well, what more can I say than to thank you all for sparing the time to be here this afternoon. Mable, it was your first time, but well, there's always a first time to everything, but I must say you did amazingly well.
Thank
Gady,
you.
it's always a pleasure to have you from the Youth Council. The Young Democrats, it's always a pleasure. From the New Bold Vision. Roy, thank you very much. Of course, to the viewers, it's always a pleasure having you every single Wednesday afternoon. This is your show, and continue to follow it religiously on Twitter. Be part of the conversation. And until next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.